are doing to their communities. And trust me, federal government, I'm going to put the brakes as much as I can on you helping to pay to clean this up once it's all said and done. I don't care if you drop a Moab on here. We ain't helping. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. That's the system I'm from. You know, back when we actually had good education and people that came from the world of hard knocks. This is disgusting.
Governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, saying, I want to be clear, there is no need for military troops on the ground in the state of Illinois. Go out to
Yeah, he's got it covered, can't you see?
Portland, Oregon, this same exact thing you're seeing there, the same violence in the streets, more than...
Yeah, and by the way, with all the violence in Portland, which is 10 times the amount in Chicago, they had 2 arrests. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys understand that. 2 arrests in Portland. All that thuggery, that mayhem. You know what they need to do? They literally need to abolish Portland Police Department. It's not a police department. It's a second arm of Antifa. That's it. That's it. It's a corrupted organization. They all need to be put in jail. All of them. There's not a good, and I said this on my earlier live on the Bullhorn Betty channel. You know, do you know how I know that all the officers in Portland are garbage? Because the ones that aren't garbage would have transferred. So all that's left over is the garbage, is the shit. Okay? The officers that no other agency would take. That's who's running the Portland Police Department. And that raging alcoholic lunatic of a police chief? What a disgrace. What a disgrace. All under the leadership of Kotex Tampon.
100 days of violent assaults on the ICE facility in Portland, as the Attorney General there in Portland says that Portland is not the president's war-torn fantasy. Our city...
Yeah, not war-torn at all. Please, come one, come all. This is the vacation destination. If your achievement is homicide, if you want to be murdered and bludgeoned and raped, by all means, please. I'll send you. I think I could probably fly you out there, get you a whole, we'll just throw you on the street since you really don't care, right? So I think we can get you out there for $100, folks. What a trip. What a deal. What a deal. You feeling kamikaze? You feeling, hey, you know what? I want a wild, let's ditch Mexico, right? Let's ditch the Caribbeans, you know, and the pirates and stuff. Let's go to Chicago. Let's go for that murder mystery dinner. Make sure if you go to Chicago or Portland, you have your, you know, your will and your final, you know, make peace with life before you go. Tell your family where your last will and testament is. You're probably going to need it because they're probably going to have to ship you back. I'm just saying, it's getting that bad out there. Look at this place. It's in shambles. And we got 2 governors lying to our face saying they have no problems in their states. We're going to get to why Trump is moving in and what his authority is to move in as well. When you start getting into communism, socialism, Marxism, it takes war to get you out of those things. War. We are not even stepped into it yet. And look at all that we're having to do to undo what they were trying to do behind our backs. But let's listen to Christie.
I've encouraged the governor of Oregon and of Illinois and that attorney general should go down and spend some time with our ICE officers and with our Border Patrol officers and encounter the protesters that they do, because these individuals are shouting hateful things at them, threatening their families, putting their hands on them, and acts of violence are occurring on a regular basis.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be one thing I say everywhere I go. Do not put your hands on me. Even when I'm in rooms, in Board of County Commissioner rooms and stuff like that, and I know that I do get a little hostile in some of those things verbally, not obviously physically. I'm not that kind of person. I will drop like a bag of potatoes. Do not put your hands on me. You can ask me to leave. I'll be happy to walk out, but do not put your hands on me. I'm very big about personal space and do's and don'ts of law enforcement. You do not need to put your hands on me. And that's the same goes for law enforcement. There's not one reason why anybody needs to put their hand on any law enforcement officer ever. That's crazy. That's crazy. And not only that, I think if somebody put their hands on me, I would bust them in their head. And for these law enforcement officers that have a freaking badge to bust them in the head if they get to touch them, I'm surprised that they withhold bashing them in the head, because I sure the hell would smack the shit out of somebody. Don't touch me. Okay? I'm going to tell that for everybody, because I'm allowed to say that. Why? Because it's my personal body. Don't touch me. I will defend myself if you touch me. Be careful, especially in a hostile situation. Don't even tap me on the shoulder unless you're ready to duck. Because you never know. And if I was out here in Chicago and we had a friendly come up to tap me on the shoulder to say hi, you might got a black eye. I might have been swinging as I'm turning. I don't know. It's getting a little crazy out there. I'm just saying. It's getting crazy out there. You know, in those safe war zones, you know. J.B. Prexiger and Tampon Queen, Kotex, right? They're saying it's safe, and it's like, okay, well, we got a friendly, safe war zone over here, okay? We got a couple safe war zones, guys. Don't worry. We know they're safe war zones because the governors tell us they're safe war zones.
Basis. So they're just sitting far away in safe facilities, some of them with protective detail, which is a very different situation than trying to clean up the streets and help protect the families and the victims of these criminals that have been roaming for far too long.
So during the break, you told us that there are actually some individual agents who have been identified and have bounties placed on their heads. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we had a really strange incident yesterday where we had a caravan of 10 different vehicles that were following our Border Patrol agents and officers that were out there on the streets of Chicago.
And this was very disturbing, guys. Like, this car rammed them. Not just rammed them, kept ramming them. You could see them stopping. They even had another agency vehicle go behind the car that was ramming them. I mean, this car was pushing. This person was trying to kill them.
Tonight, the Department of Homeland Security says there were 2 separate alleged incidents of drivers using their vehicles to ram into other vehicles with federal agents. According to a federal criminal complaint, Marimar Martinez and Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz used multiple vehicles to strike a vehicle driven by federal agents in Brighton Park yesterday. Prosecutors say Martinez and Ruiz used their vehicles to box in the agent's car. Court documents say an agent, unable to move his vehicle, got out and fired about 5 shots at Martinez. DHS says yesterday Martinez allegedly attempted to run over agents and was armed with a semi-automatic weapon. Martinez drove off, but paramedics found her at a repair shop about a mile away from the scene. An ambulance took her to the hospital where her gunshot wounds were treated. Ruiz also drove away, but prosecutors say police found him and his vehicle at a gas station about a half a block away. This video, captured by a witness shared with ABC News, was taken at Kedzie and West 40th Street. We slow it down to show a uniformed officer pointing a gun. Ruiz's SUV is also seen at the gas station. Court documents say it's the same gas station where agents later detained him. Prosecutors say the 2 were allegedly part of a convoy that followed agents after a CBP operation. And tonight we're learning about an apparent second incident involving a driver allegedly ramming a federal vehicle. This video captured from about 6 blocks north. Here you see the driver of a black SUV ram into the back of a white pickup truck with flashing blue lights. It's not clear who is driving the SUV. The SUV chases the pickup down Kedzie towards the direction of protesters. A second black SUV slams into the first one, and what appear to be uniformed officers jump out. As for Martinez and Ruiz, both are in custody, charged with assaulting, impeding, and interfering with a federal law enforcement officer.
The woman and the man, they were trying to kill these agents. Like, they're lucky to be alive. I don't understand why the officers did not put a bullet slap in their head. Because I'm telling you, here in Florida, had it been Florida, both of those people inside that vehicle would have been dead. There would have been no walking away from that. It's just, like I said, we shoot to kill here. We don't shoot to maim. Somebody uses a vehicle to kill deputies? Those people are lucky. That's all I'm saying is God had his hand overlooking that whole situation, folks. You guys have no idea. I'm talking about for the criminals. God had his hand looking out for those criminals. Had it been any other place, any other time, they'd be slapped dead.
They had followed them and gotten them cornered, pinned them down, and then our agents, when getting out of their cars, they tried to run them over and had semi-automatic handguns on them to where our agents had to protect themselves, and shots were fired, and an individual ended up in the hospital that was attacking these officers. Very dangerous situation. And then in that situation as well, this individual had threatened them previously.
Threatened them previously, had a gun, and still walked away alive. Okay, I don't know if the officers were intending to keep her alive or they were just some bad aim, because I've got some questions, because I'm telling you, if this person was in Florida, they would be dead on arrival, okay? I'm sorry. I don't see our officers giving these people any type of room to do this again. You used a freaking car to ram officers? Again, if this was in Florida, every single one of those officers would have unloaded their weapon in that vehicle. Okay? They would have unloaded their weapon. I know that because I've seen it 1,000 times. Like I said, we've got problems in this state, just not these type of problems.
And had told them that they all needed to go down and shouted expletives at them. So our intelligence indicates that these people are organized. They're getting more and more people on their team as far as attacking officers.
Scary
and they're
stuff.
making plans to ambush them and to kill them.
Scary
we have
stuff, folks.
Specific officers and agents that have bounties that have been put out on their heads. It's been $2,000 to kidnap them, $10,000 to kill them. They've released their pictures. They've sent them between their networks, and it's an extremely dangerous situation and unprecedented. So we've
unprecedented. It's not. We're in civil war, folks. I mean, I don't know how the Democrats have hid this for so long, but and not only that, but I'm a raging lunatic on our own Republican side, because how dare you guys put us all in this jeopardy with all of this rhetoric that they've been saying for years? They've not been listening. They've been sticking their head in the freaking sand, and now we got Molotov cocktails and bullets coming our way, and now we're realizing, oh shit, what have they done? Now we're ready to act. Well, now you see what it's taking to stop this. So what does the president have? What can he truly do out here? Well, there's several acts, okay? There's 3 different acts that come to mind as to whether or not the federal government has the right to go into these communities. The answer is, of course they do. Of course they do. And the number one, I think, act is 10 U.S.C. section 251 to 255, and that's related to the Insurrection Act, okay? And this is for civil unrest and rebellion or domestic violence beyond the control of state authorities. Now, we're seeing state authorities are completely out of touch and have no control over these hot spot areas. That gives the ability for the federal government to go in and clean up those hot spots. However, what we don't have is the actual Insurrection Act being implemented. We don't hear somebody saying that this is an insurrection, we're implementing this act. So even though they do have a right, I haven't heard these be spoken of yet, but they have done and made some moves with respect of putting Antifa on the domestic terrorist, identifying as a domestic terrorist unit. We also have like the Stafford Act, which is used for natural disaster and major emergencies, which in part with them destroying a community, this could be considered a major emergency, depending on how it's legally defined federally. And of course, the National Emergencies Act, which allows presidents to activate certain special powers for national security or crises. Each of these acts are defined how federal power interacts with state and local authorities. So there is this overriding ability the federal government has on sovereign states. So I want to make sure people understand that, because right now it seems as if people think that each state is independent of federal oversight or, federal, insertion. They can insert federal government, they can insert the National Guard, they can insert certain things in different areas for specific reasons. And right now, to me, I think the federal government absolutely, especially the photos and videos that we're getting, how innocent people are being arrested while the people that are creating the mayhem are being just, overlooked somehow in these war-torn areas. I'm going to call them war-torn areas because it looks like a war zone there. And for us to say anything other than a war, W-A-R, torn, T-O-R-N, torn area, right? Because they look like war-torn areas. They look like third world countries, and they're right here in the United States. One area being in Portland, Oregon, the other one being in Chicago. Now, I will tell you from everything I've seen and read from every person from the ghettos on up want the National Guards in Chicago. Okay? I haven't heard the same for Portland. But I definitely know that I heard over and over and over and over again from multiple people in Chicago, they're tired of the violence. They want to be saved. They are, even with that raid of that apartment building, there were so many people going out. Even the people from the ghetto are saying, y'all, we're so sick and tired of you guys spreading misinformation. That had been taken over by these cartel members, and they were violent cartel members. We're glad they got out. That was not predominantly black. It used to be, but the cartel members took it over and kicked us all out. So they were happy that apartment building was raided, but you wouldn't have known from mainstream media.
The chaos that has broken out in Portland, Oregon, and in Chicago, the split screen you see here, the absolute violent assaults and riots happening as the
governors should be embarrassed. Coming out here to America saying their cities are safe and this is what they give them. And they intentionally do this because they know that they need to be working with the federal partners and enforcing federal law, and they're refusing to enforce federal law. So really, the Democrat Party are creating this entire scene out there because what they want is they want to create this scene so they can call Trump tyrannical, right? But he's not being tyrannical. They're forcing this on them because it's either you get the people out of this country, which is what 83 freaking million Americans, the majority of Americans voted for, is to get these people out. I don't care if they're nice people, okay? I don't care. If they're great, law-abiding citizens, why didn't they come in here legally? So I don't want to hear. Your first introduction to America is a crime. I'm a law and order chick. Like, I ain't buying this bullshit, okay? We're not buying it. It's just not going to happen. Your first crime into our country is breaking in. If somebody broke into my house, do you think I would welcome them to stay? Let me ask you that. Let me ask each and every one of you that question. If somebody broke into your home, are you going to continue to invite them to stay? I don't know about you or what kind of person you are, but me? No. The answer is no, I would not. If somebody broke in my house, I'd call law enforcement and have them removed. Interesting. Interesting. Because that's exactly what we're doing. We're having them removed. And in any other time in our society, the governors would work with ICE agents to do that. Say, if Kamala Harris was the president and she wanted to do the exact same thing, these assholes, Governor Kotek's tampon and Dick Pricks, right, would be all about helping them, not making this scene out in their streets. But make no mistakes, 83 million Americans voted for this, and by God, we are going to get them out of our country. Now, we can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. Obviously, these governors have made the choice to do it the hard way, and we're happy to oblige, okay? And therefore, you have these type of anarchy-looking war zones in their community that they created themselves. They created themselves to drive a narrative, i.e. put their constituents literally in harm's way for a vote, money, power. That's disgusting as well.
Is not ravaged, and there's no rebellion. Joining us now, DHS Secretary Kristi
Not at all.
Noem. Madam Secretary, we just showed our viewers exactly the reality of what's playing out, and then the rhetoric of the Democratic leaders, and it seems to tell two different stories.
Yes,
because the Democrat leaders are lying to the public. And you know those piece of shit judges? Hey, piece of shit judges. Even the ones Trump appointed. Y'all better get in line, because I'm telling you, people like me are only going to put up with so much. We know where you live. We have no problem protesting in front of your house. We have no problem making you famous in your very unfamous life. We have no problem. I'm happy to do it. As a matter of fact, I should be in front of Corey's business right now. I've showed him some grace, on the back of... I showed a lot of people some grace on the back of Charlie Kirk. I don't know how much of grace I'm going to be able to show for too much longer. But at the end of the day, we need to be showing up at these people's homes, okay? I'm a professional protester. I do not believe in violence, but I do believe in voices being heard. I push the limits. There are laws such as noise ordinances, or, me having to go and ask and fill out a form and pay a fee to protest. I don't do that. It's my constitutional right. If you need to know where I'm going to be at what time, I'm happy to tell you, but I'm not going to write a request out to exercise my constitutional rights. You can arrest me. You can do whatever. I'll deal with you at the Supreme Court level. But I will not fill out those. I'm one of these. I'm a constitutionalist, okay? I'm a true blue constitutionalist. You're not going to tell me to fill out a form or pay $35 to exercise my constitutional rights. I will never do that. I will never comply. That in and of itself is protesting. Okay? So, with that being said, I do not believe in violence, but I do believe in raising your voice and being loud and chanting and being peaceful, but also being in front of these people's houses, because while they're ruining our lives or making our lives uncomfortable, we make their life uncomfortable as well. As many of you know, I'm Bullhorn Betty. In my real day job, I show up at people's houses all the time. I kick my feet up. I stay a little while, right? I make sure everybody knows what's going on behind those closed doors. But somehow, when it comes to politicians, we forgot the cardinal rule. They're required to post their addresses on all their documents to run for office. They cannot be anonymous. They cannot be secret, and they cannot hide and lie. But they do. And so it's our responsibility to be the boil on the ass of a politician. And I do that very, very well. I do very, very well sitting behind the table here in a diplomatic place. But I also do it very effectively being in your face outside of your business and letting people know that you're a politician that did bad things. It doesn't matter which way we go. It's still effective. But I always believe in positivity. I always believe in nonviolence. I never believe in taking the law into your own hand. And I always believe in listening to commands, whether I agree with law enforcement or not. When I'm out there on those streets, law enforcement telling me to move, I'll move. Okay? I do things out there. I may say things and be certain ways out there, but I will always follow the commands of law enforcement. Why? Because at the end of the day, they need to be safe and I need to be safe. And the people that are with me need to be safe. We're ineffective going to jail, okay? That's the way I've always believed. You never want to do anything to put yourself in jeopardy of your freedom, first and foremost. But you cannot be helpful or benefit anybody or any cause if you're going to jail. These people that are out there want to go to jail. These people are not protesters that are outside of these facilities. I know that because I am a professional protester. Okay? And I can tell you, being a professional protester, I've never had to pay 1 red cent for anybody to show up. Furthermore, I've never had to bus in a single soul to any of my events. And some of my events got into the hundreds of people. Okay? In my heydays out in front of Manatee County School Board, we had hundreds of people out there raising their voices. I've never in my life had any of my audience members try to storm a building, even yell or scream obscenities at our school board members. None of that went on. None of that went on. Did we scream obscenities? Yes, but we weren't in the face of people. And I didn't scream obscenities on the microphone with children around. These people are not protesters. This is not constitutionally protected actions. How do I know? Again, professional protester here. I follow every single law. Every law. I work hard to make sure I don't cross that line. These people don't care. They just don't care. And now that they're undoing it, what are they trying to do? They're trying to destabilize America, because when America's destabilized, they can attack. They can start moving. The Democrat Party is the party of freaking snakes. All they want is domination and your money and your property. And until they get it, they will never stop. They will just keep coming back as different names. The Democrat Party's pretty much dead. A lot of people think that the Republicans are this party of bigotry. We're the ones that freed the slaves the first go round. We're the ones that are freeing the Hispanic slaves this go round. And look at what we're having to do to free the slaves this go round. Look what the Democrats are doing. They want slavery. They don't care who it is. They want free labor, and they want your money. That's all it's always been about for hundreds of years.